Welcome to Crazy Gamer Models. I am the Crazy Gamer and I do models. It is time for a building techniques video with the Ryefield Models Tiger 1 with the optional clear parts. Let us take a look at the techniques that are going to be used now, and be sure to let me know how you would handle this situation or if my tips helped you out in the comments below. Let's take a look at what we have for today. As you can see, the Ryefield model's out, and we have a little bit more progress. I don't have the clear top on it at this exact moment. I'll be putting it on later. Let's take a look at the book here. And as you can see, you can email me at crazygamermodels@gmail.com. So we've cruised through here, pretty good. We had some issues with the periscope in part 10, but I decided to let it go because you're not going to see it, even though you guys saw it on the video. Just didn't want another clear parts video. So we are here, and we have already completed this section here. So the only clarification I have on this is this part is labeled as A22 and it's really A20. So on this storage bin here, and that goes right here. It's this one right here. This part's A20, not A22. It was a mislabel on there. We have all this little bits and bobs. The loader's door, that could have been okay, I did leave it so it can be opened. So you can glue that to where it can be able to be opened and closed. So I went ahead and did that. I couldn't remember if I did it or not. I haven't worked on this model in a little bit. So we have all that in. To do that, all you do is when you glue this assembly to here, you don't glue this A25 and A13. You just glue the A13 to the side of the turret hull, and you're able to open and close it. Everything went together fine on that, but that's done. Step 17 is done. Now we're going to move on to the fun of step 17. And if you saw my review, you saw that the tracks were individual link tracks with individual guide horns that have to be put on. So right now we're going to be mounting some tracks to the side of the turret. You might want to wait to do this till painting is done and then add these tracks at the end, but I'll follow along in the instructions here. So I have, so I can just go through the instructions and just demonstrate the techniques on the build. But we need to build 8 tracks. We need to put some PE parts on these F36s, and we need to take these F36s off of the sprue tree a certain way so we can kind of use their arrangement as a fixture. So I'm going to show you that right now. So I have the F sprue right here, and the parts we need are right down here. There's F36 and F37, and as you can see, they're kind of cupped and angled. So for this, I'm going to use my Xeron because they tend to cut a little more heavier duty of sprue. Cut off 36 and 37. I'm not going to worry about 35 right now. I'm just going to work on these 37s, and then we'll see those in a minute. So we got those 2 parts set off right there. That's these 2. Now let's take a look at these tracks. Tracks are fun when they're all a bunch of pieces like this. So here we need 8 tracks. So here's what the tracks look like. So as you can see, they have 4 little points on them here. Just take them off with your Tamiya's and they come off pretty good right there. Hardly any bit of a nub. Just hit that with a little sanding right there. And that's good to go. That seems to be good to go. Maybe just hit it a little bit. Just knock off the edge of that. Now, as you can see here, there are four little holes. There, and there. Those are for the guide horns, which are on this sprue here, which is your end sprue, and it's part number 3. And basically, you don't cut off it at the guide horn here. You don't cut it off there. You cut it off up here, and then you have a little handle to hold on to it. Now, be advised, these pieces tend to fly, so hold on to them. And I've already cut off the ones, the 16 I needed. Just wanted to show you them on the sprue, and then there they are right there. So, and then on top of all this fun of individual track links and all these little pieces, you're also going to need to get out your Photo-etch sprue. Here, your P Photo-etch sprue, because there's 2 of them in here. And there's your P sprue. And we're going to zoom in here, and I'll show you what parts you're going to need. You are going to need these right here. These are 8 of these you're going to need, and they are glued on to this section right here as little latch handles, which I applaud Ryefield Models for the level of detail that they're putting into this kit, with these little bit of Photo-etch latch handles on here, and the details of the tracks with the individual guide horns. But it's going to be a little tricky to get all this together. So I'm going to hold off on putting. I don't know if I should put on the Photo-etch piece first, and then mount this to, as you can see, after that we mount this to here, like so, like that, and then the tracks get mounted like this underneath there. So these kind of hold the tracks on. So it's gonna be fun. That's maybe an understatement on fun. So let's start by trying to glue on a guide horn here. And here's how I'm gonna do it. I am gonna move this book out of the way. Put those up. Get out my 1, 2, 3 clippers. And I'm going to move the book here out of the way. And then I'm going to get my vise that has my little fixture on it. And I'll take off this little piece of styrene. And peel off my ticky tack. Reposition it here. So I'm going to reposition my ticky tack like that, and then I want to take my individual track link that I had. Oh, here it is, and I'm going to position it in there like that. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. Position that like that. And then I'm going to grab one of these guide horns and get my glue out. I'm going to use some quick set for this because it's a little part. And touch it in there and let go of it. I'm going to grab another one. Okay, so that's not too bad, and now we can check it to make sure they're straight up and down. And then we can let that dry. Now, that's not too bad. I'll show you what that looks like. That's not too bad on there. That wasn't too bad to do that. It's going to be a lot of repetition, especially when we get to all the tracks. But it seems to go a little easier than what Takom does with their guide horns all on one strip. This may be a long drawn out process of doing each individual track, but currently we only need 8. So that's that. Alright, when I come back I'm going to have all 8 of the tracks done, and then we're going to have the PE cut out. And I will start to show you how I would glue the PE on these parts. And then we'll get a little bit further on this technique style. So that's the first part. Back in a sec. Okay, we've made a little progress here. We've gotten the individual guide horns glued on to these guide horns here. Just going to zoom you guys in a little bit here. We got the individual guide horns on. We got them straight. They're dry. So now all we need to do is come in here with our 1, 2, 3 cutters. Right here, if I can get it into focus. You can see that. And nip that off right there. And then there we go. The guide horns are done. So that's that. So we have 8 of these to do. I'll do one more just to show you here. Just to show you. Just to show you them getting cut off. But the 1, 2, 3 cutters, you don't really have a lot of issues with cleanup. And they look pretty good. Now, to move on to this piece here. Right here, we have this piece here, and it needs the Photo-etch piece glued on. You can see it. I glued these 3 on right here. It's kind of hard to see. Hold it that way. You can see the little Photo-etch handle glued on there, right in the front there. I'll show you in the book what that is. And that's this part right here, this P27 on these sections right here. So I have them all glued on but one because it was tedious and I spent about an hour doing it. So I'll just see if I can bring this into focus here. And I can give you a demonstration of what I was doing. Okay, so that's that. Now I have back here, I have my super glue. Bring that back into focus. Now what I use is one of these wax pens, and then inside the dish, okay. Oh wait, here it is, it's in this dish. They're so tiny they're hard to see, is the little piece. I grab it with the wax pencil and I place it just very lightly on the ticky tack right there. And then I come in with my Tamiya pointed tweezers and I grab it like that. Then I come in here with my airbrush needle for glue and I place the glue right there. And then I stick the handle on like so. And you know, basically that's it. That's basically how I do that. And I know the camera bumped a little bit there. I'm sorry, guys. that's basically how I do that. And as you can see, I use this vise. I have this block I made out of 2-part putty. I can orient it different ways. I have ticky tack on there. I can mold it. I can, you saw me hold the tracks in there to glue the guide horns, and it is very, very good. You can take the needle off. You can adjust it, and you can tilt it and move it in many different directions, to get the right position that you need to be gluing at. And it'll also lock to the table if you need it to, but I don't find that I need it to lock to the table. Then it just sits off the side when I'm done with it. So the next step is to let those dry. We'll let that super glue set. I just finished gluing them, and we'll get the rest of these guide horns cut off here. And even though I used the quick setting Tamiya on there, I still let them dry for a good hour, just so I don't knock them off. And the next thing we're going to do, I'll show you on this one, this right here with the ones that are dry, is we're going to put this there like that, right on the top edge, and then we're going to glue tracks underneath it like so, and then we're going to put these little pieces here, 35, underneath the tracks like that. So they're going to go under there like that. So actually they're going to go under there like that, so it holds it in there. So that's going to be a little tricky. I'm going to let all this stuff dry, and then I'm going to come back and show you how that gets done. And we're going to have these, hopefully I can show you gluing them on. I'm going to do this small side off camera to get a feel of how it goes together, and then I'll show you the other side, how I do it, and the best techniques I think to use. So, and let me know your techniques in the comments below. If you ever built one of these, let me know how you went about this process. Back in a minute. Okay, we're back here for another part, and as you can see, I have this F-36 right here glued on to the side of the turret. And I just want to touch on how I glued that on, because there is some fit issues with it lining up, and instead of gluing them on individually by cutting them off, I wanted to stick with the instructions here. So I want to show you with this other side here. If I take this piece here and I place it there, there is some minor gaps there, but hopefully I can do this on camera without my visor on. So I'm going to get some quick set here. I'm going to put it in position. Flow that quick set in there. Make sure that's good to go. Just hold it there for a minute, and then I turn it on its side to make sure it's straight up and down. Then I add a little bit more quick set there. Just a little bit more, not too much so where it comes loose. But as you can see, it's straight up and down. Now what I did on the other side, because there are little bitty gaps in there, you can see, and I want a stronger bond. So I come in here with my thinner sprue goo. Let's sit this down for a second. Come in here with my thinner sprue goo here, and I come in underneath it like so, and I just get a little bit on there, fill that gap from underneath. That giant bubble of it off. And that'll shrink back and it'll fill the gaps on there. And I'm just going to do the little bitty gaps on this part right here. And this is super thin sprue goo, guys. This is very, very thin. There's not a lot of, yeah, see, that's already starting to sag. So I'm going to have to hold it straight there. And I'm going to have to hold it because I have these pieces glued onto this side. So I'm going to have to hold that until it dries. So, zoom out here. So, next part, I know this keeps breaking up into little couple-minute segments, but this is, you know, this is a tricky setup here, and I can rotate it around carefully and show you the other side, how you can barely see any of the sprue goo. So, I don't want to sit it down because I don't want it to sag, because there's a lot of weight on the end of it here from this piece here, that if I have it sitting straight up, it'll want to sag down, and then it'll glue crooked, and it will be very hard to fix. So I want that to set up. Sprue goo takes a little bit longer to set up, but I'm hoping the quick set takes a bite so I can just hold it in there. And I'm probably going to leave the final trimming of this until I put the tracks on and the bottom pieces on, just so it has more to glue to than just that little bitty section right here. It's just this little section right here is not much to hold on to. That's why I put the sprue goo in there, to give it a little bit more of a bond, because there was like a micro gap and just a little bit was holding on. And to line it up, it doesn't really give you location points, and it doesn't show you in the instructions too well where to position them. And if you look further in the instructions, there's really not a lot of pictures, but if you look at the back there, you can see how they're kind of spaced there before that one side. So I kind of use that as my reference, kind of where to put it, plus the curvature of the part. It only really fits in like one or two spots, so you kind of put it in the spot that it best fits in, and then you're pretty much good to go. So that looks like it's going to stay level. No, maybe not. Still pulling a little bit. And there's another little bitty hole in there that the sprue goo shrunk a little bit. Oh, not that. That's not what I want. I want the sprue goo. So I'm just going to add a little bit more sprue goo to it. It's going to increase the drying time, but it's going to reinforce it. So, and basically this sprue goo has very little plastic in it, just enough to where the glue is going to evaporate and it's going to leave a little bit of plastic behind. Unlike like this stuff is a thicker, goopier, and then just the different thicknesses are helpful. As you use it, you'll realize that, hey, I wish I had a thinner or thicker goo. And you make what's according. You can adjust your goo on the fly by adding more plastic or adding more glue, but I just like having the two different glues. And if you build enough models, you end up with a bunch of these empty bottles. So I make them. I have Tacom sprue goo, and sometimes I make it for different things out of the plastic of the actual sprues. So, but it comes in very useful to increase the bond on a joint like this, where it's super tiny and there's not a lot of room in there. And as you can see, that just sits right on the edge there, and there's not a whole lot of space in there. Alright, hopefully the last segment when I come back will be gluing the tracks on, and that'll be the end of this Techniques building series. So, thank you guys for sticking by this long. We have one more little segment to go, hopefully, and then we'll wrap it up on this technique and this step 18 of this tiger build. Thanks. Back in a minute. Okay, here we go. Now, these have sat overnight to dry, and they look like they're solid. Not as solid as I would like them to be, but it is time to trim the flash off. So, I'm going to cut that one. I'm going to cut that one. I'm going to cut that one off like that. And now these right here. There we go. Cut one a little close, but that's because I was doing it on camera and I couldn't see. So now that we have that, we have these tracks here that are going to go like that. Oh, it shows it. It shows it like that. Let's take one of these bottom pieces off and see how they go on here. I'm just going to trim one of these little 35s off here. And that is going to go on the bottom here, like so. I'm going to drop it. Well, they don't make this easy. I'm going to try on this side here. If you guys come up with a better way of messing with these things, you be sure to let me know. So I'm going to have to glue that on like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up like this and glue the track to the side of the hull, and then just glue the piece on there like that. So I'm going to go off camera and do that because this is going to be hard to do on camera, and then I'll be back to show you what it looks like finished. Okay, this is the end of this video. It's been long enough and I've gotten one side done. As you can see, the tracks have been glued on and the little pieces have been glued on the bottom. And that is basically it. I glued on the track on this long edge here, glued that on, glued it to the top, made sure it was straight, and then I glued these pieces on. The pair of tweezers is super helpful to stick it on there and then line it up. So that's it. I'll do these off camera and show them to you in the next video. But that's going to do it for this building techniques video. You can visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. I have Instagram at Crazy Gamer Models, Facebook page, same thing, Crazy Gamer Models, all one word, and email me at crazygamermodels@gmail.com. If you liked the video, give me a like and subscribe, And leave a comment below on what you think and maybe your techniques for tackling this problem, or if my techniques helped you at all. That's going to do it for this video. I'm the Crazy Gamer. You guys have a fantastic day.